Hey, welcome to Feeling Twisty. I just got back home from the opening of the art show I told you about in the episode. I don't remember the number. Art and the Worrywart. The name of it, the art show, is For the Love of, and it was put on by the Brimstone Museum and the Henning Cultural Center in Sulphur, Louisiana. I love you, Tom Trayan. Thank you so much for asking me to be in it. The opening was so cool. I never would have thought that my name, that I would have something I produced hanging on a wall in an art gallery. What a fun experience. And I'm not going to get into all what I went through, my experience leading up to actually producing the piece, the painting. You can check that out in the other episode. But it was so cool to see all these different works of art in all these different mediums and sculptures. Every one was completely different than the other. And I got to speak with a couple of the artists who had pieces in the gallery in this production or this show. And a couple of them were just relieved that it was over, kind of like wiping the brow, like, whew, I made it. It's done. And others, I just watched. I didn't talk to everybody. I just watched them as they admired their works of art. One person, she was looking at hers with her family, and the expression on her face, it was just this love, this excitement, and this pleasure in seeing something, this beautiful work of art that she produced with her own hand. And you could see a twinkle in the eye of all the artists, like proud of that they did it. They produced something. Now, there were some there that are clearly artists, clearly have done this before. And there are some that, like mine, it was obvious. Maybe we hadn't done it before. But each one that I looked at, I could tell that there was love put into it. Whether it was a veteran at this, or a newbie like me, who would have to be called an artist, with quotations, air quotes around it. There was a passion and a love, a drive to get it done. But before that, before the getting it done in the physical world, each one of us went into our imagination and saw it done in imagination, whether they realize it or not. Nothing appears in the physical world if it didn't first exist in imagination. And no, I didn't start talking about this to everybody there, but you could see the love in the eyes of these artists when they would talk about their works, or just admiring it with their family and posing for pictures next to it. If you're interested in checking out the artwork, go by the Henning Cultural Center next to the Brimstone Museum in Sulphur. It'll be there, open until October 10th. And each work of art, each artist picked a cause or a charity, something they believe in, that the money that their particular work of art, that their piece earns in the auction, all of that money goes to their cause of choice. And it's really cool. I like the way Tom and Kat at the Brimstone put this together, and I'm thrilled that I got to be in the first one. They're going to do this again next year and the next. I'm just happy I got to be in the inaugural one. So thanks again. But while I'm at the art show, it's a mother and her little boy came up to me, and the little boy, she told the little boy, tell Mr. Mike about these grapes. I'm paraphrasing now on exactly what she told me, but young little boy, very young, cute little kid. And she said, tell him how you imagined these grapes. You imagined up these grapes. And it was so cool. The boy just kind of smiled and said he loves grapes but the mom kind of quickly told me the story of how he saw a picture of grapes that morning, I think in his book, but saw a picture of grapes and said, "Oh, I love grapes." And then here we are at the art show, and he's got a cup full of grapes. It really is that simple. Now, you might think, you could easily say, well, the grapes, well, of course, it was catered, there was food there, and of course, grapes are always part of the fruit and veggie tray at any kind of catered function, right? Of course. I didn't see any grapes. Honestly, I don't know what was on the food table, but I wasn't interested in anything on the food table. I didn't become aware of it. I wasn't making it a point to look. And the grapes would have been there, most likely anyway. And the boy maybe not even had a chance to eat the grapes, but they were there. But he, in imagination, just dwelt on that love of grapes. Oh, I love grapes. Just a little moment, a little emotional reaction that he had to the picture of grapes. And he is then, this afternoon at the art show, experiencing the joy of actually eating the grapes. Sure, the grapes would have been there. Everything, I tell you, everything is already there. It's already here. It's up to us to select it. All the money you need, wealth is already there. A loving relationship is already there. A delicious meal is already there. Any experience that you want is already there. You want to dwell in a new state, move into a new state of being. It's already there. It says in the Bible that creation is finished, and God said it is good. So we're not really creating anything. Creation is already done. Nothing to create. It's already there. It's just up to us to select it, to choose what we want. I love the little story about the little boy and his grapes. I love grapes. We do that all day long. We have these little emotional reactions, these little imaginal acts that we react to something. It could be a love of grapes. It could be a hatred of a coworker. Good, bad, and indifferent. It doesn't matter whether it's something that's going to be good for you or something that you think might be bad for you. Your little emotional reactions plant seeds. And this is a perfect, simple example. I love grapes. And then he dropped it. He didn't continue thinking about grapes. When am I going to have grapes? When am I going to have grapes? Grapes, grapes, grapes. Got to have grapes. He didn't find pictures of grapes on the internet and start posting them. I doubt he has a Facebook page, but let's pretend he's older. He didn't find photos of grapes, post them on his Facebook page. What do you call it? Is it Facebook wall? I don't know. He didn't post them on social media with the comment, type yes if you want grapes. He didn't write affirmations out and post them to his mirror. I have grapes. I have grapes. I have a bunch of grapes. He didn't do any of that. It was a little emotional reaction. Oh, I love grapes. And here he is getting to experience it. Oh, I hate my boss. You're going to experience more crap, more reasons to hate him. Every emotional response, your little reactions are planting seeds. Now, you can revise it. You can, if you don't like those reactions, and think about heading to work this morning and remembering those thoughts that you had, planting those crappy suck seeds about your work experience. As you lay down tonight before bed, go back through the day, put yourself back in your car, driving to work that morning, making then now, and change what you're thinking about. Change the feeling of what you're thinking about. Events And those reactions and those feelings those seeds you're planting will carry into the future and to face you in the future, good, bad, or indifferent. So why not go back and change that? Change those reactions, revise them. Or, like Mr. 2020 says, take a great day and revise that. Make something that really cool happened. Go into imagination. Go back into that moment and make it even better and bigger and even awesomer. I love grapes. And the grapes were there. He could have easily not experienced it. He could have hated grapes or just not had any reaction to the grapes, the picture of the grapes. And the grapes would have still been there on the table. He just wouldn't have experienced it. It's up to us to choose, to select our state, to select our experiences. If we leave it up to others, we're just like a boat tossed about with no rudder, no oars. Sometimes we get so far up shit creek, and then we're like trying to paddle with our hands, and it just gets messy. And oh look, corn. But I digress. What do you love? What do you want to be? What do you want to experience? Who do you want to be? Whatever that is, fall in love with that state, that desired state, and not fall in love with wanting. It's not falling in love with, one day I'm going to be this. One day I'm going to do this. Like with the art that I did, the painting I did, if I kept saying one day, I'll get to it one day. Oh yeah, I'll get to it one day. Well, then I would have had to call Tom and say, I can't do it. Sorry. I messed up. Nothing happened. The painting didn't come together for me until I changed my feeling and got out of my head, stopped worrying about the details, the technique, and all the little things in between, and just went right to the end and felt the joy of having done it. I fell in love with that experience. So whatever you want in life, whoever you want to be, you move into that state. What would the feeling be like if I were this, if I experienced that? And not a feeling of wanting, but the feeling that it's done. It's already happened. Go right into imagination. Experience that feeling, that joy and wonder of it being done. And see how your world changes. Because if you're living from a different state, that new dwelling place means the world sees you differently. Everything you experience is a reflection, just a mirror of what's going on inside you. And there's a quote from Neville. I wanted to use the exact quote, but I couldn't find it. But he says basically that the world that you're experiencing is a reflection, is a mirror of your own consciousness. And he says, don't break the mirror. Change your face. I love that. Change your face. Change your concept of yourself. I love you guys. And go check out For the Love Of at the Brimstone Museum Henning Cultural Center. This is Feeling Twisty.